Hey everybody, this is Josh, or you might know me as Racer X on the leaderboard for this track, Bushnell Motorsports Park. So I'm going to walk you guys through how I take the course. I do hold the current lap record at 70.819 seconds. So I'm going to show you guys how I take the course, and hopefully that'll help everybody else be a little bit quicker. So over here, where it says, the name, I just took a screenshot from Google Maps. This area here is the pits, and you kind of come out here from the pits like that. But where I'm going to start on the track is I'm going to start from this corner, or this little thing, this little section coming from under the bridge here is where I'm going to start. So the setup for this corner is actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to start at the start-finish line. That makes the most sense. So we're going to start over there at the start-finish line, which is this guy right here. So at the start-finish line, what we're going to do is we're going to stay all the way to the right of the track. Oh my goodness, this is a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So sensitive. There you go. So we're going to stay to the right of the track here. We're going to stay to the right, stay to the right, stay to the right. Now there is a curb on the first corner of this chicane here. For this chicane, there's a curb that's right here, and a curb that's right here. Now, what I like to do when I'm taking these corners, what I've discovered seems to be more consistently fast, at least, is I will clip the white part of the curb here, but I won't go over the rumbles because I want to maintain as much speed as I can. I won't go over the rumbles here. And then I'll kind of stay, and then I'll cut in pretty deep into the rumbles here, because these rumbles will help rotate the cart, and with that rotation that I get, I don't have to have as much of a steering angle with the cart, and I don't have to let it glide out as far here, so it's pretty much like in the middle of the track. I let it glide out, and then I'll come as far to the right as I possibly can, about right here, and then I'll go ahead and I'll tap the brakes, and I'll come in and I'll clip the white outside of this curb. Sometimes I do hit the inside of this curb, but I find it's more consistent to clip the white outside and then swing out very wide here. You do want to be careful, because there is a little bit of a dip that's right here after the pit entry. This is the pit entry here, but right after it, there's I'm very bad at drawing arrows, aren't I? That's supposed to be an arrow. Anyway, there's a little dip right there where you want to avoid when you're swinging out that wide. But obviously, you want to stay as wide as you possibly can on your corner exit there, so that you can maintain your momentum and your speed, especially since this section coming up is an uphill section. You'll clip this, and then you'll glide out all the way to the right, but about this spot on the hill here, you'll be all the way to the right. Now the trick is that right about here where the concrete starts, in this little area, like right here, there is a ledge for this concrete like platform here. There's a ledge on this side of the track, right where the ideal line is. So what I like to do, and so I don't scrub as much speed on this straight, is I like to, obviously pretty conventional, and then I'll go ahead and do something like this, and then come back onto the main racing line, because I'm trying to avoid, now it's not that dramatic, I'm not going that far to the left, I'm only going about maybe a tire width to the left, just so I can avoid that ledge. I'm exaggerating it a little bit here for effect, but that's kind of my approach here, because I don't want to scrub that speed, especially since it's an uphill section. But then, of course, that concrete is level, and you come to the downhill section here. This first 180-degree hairpin. Now, this guy is really difficult for a lot of racers to execute properly. But it's pretty simple. You want to stay to the right, stay to the right, stay to the right. And then basically, once you can see, I'm the kind of driver where I don't really tend to use markers outside of the track, if that makes any sense. I like to do things by depth and timing. So when I drive, if I'm basically always looking at the inside of the corner and judging how fast I'm going or how far away I am from it, and then from there I infer where I should brake or turn in. So when I'm coming down this hill, I'm looking. My eyes are pointed at this inner curb right here. My eyes are locked in on when I first see that, and when I first see that, that's when I'll go ahead and I'll hit the brakes, and that'll end up hitting the brakes will actually end up being like around this this kind of zone is where I'll hit the brakes, and the whole while, obviously, I've got basically no turning angle, and I'm very near the edge of the track. And then once I start to brake, I'll do this number. I'll stay very wide, and I'll try to keep as much momentum as I can, and then I'll try to clip the outside of the curb there, like that. I don't really hit the rumbles of that curb at all, because that'll scrub your speed. Do it like that, and then I'll swing out wide, like so. Now, actually, that's probably not super accurate, because sometimes the line is a little bit more geometric, because sometimes I'll end up coming out somewhere like here. Okay, it really depends. This is definitely more accurate with how geometric the line ends up being. Another tip is that at the end of this this curb here is this curb, there is a little bump here. You want to make sure that if you get close to this, you straddle the curb so your tires don't go over it and you lose speed. And other than that, that's pretty much what the line looks like through that corner. It's pretty geometric. Basically, with all the corners on this track, you want to practice turning as late as possible, and you'll carry so much more speed through exit that way. So moving on, we're going to go to this section. Oh my. This section under the bridge. So we're going to stay to the right here, like this. Bam. And then we see this curb over here. Now this curb is another really weird one, because there is a bump or ledge like right here on the curb. So you don't want to hit it super early. This is going to look like another pretty geometric line. This curb, you want to hit it on the outside. So you're going to come in just like this. Okay. And that's pretty much going to be your line there. Obviously, hand drawing it, it doesn't look as smooth as what it will in real life, but that's pretty much it. And you're under the bridge here, but when you're coming out from under the bridge, you're going to be kind of here, maybe not so far over, depending on your driving style or what the cart is asking for. But you're gonna then, you're gonna do a little bit of an S there. You're going to S it off, I like to say. And then you're going to come in, and sometimes you can clip the rumbles on this curb. What I like to do is I like to clip them, but I like to clip them late there. I find I get a little bit more speed going into the next corner this way. So I'll clip it a little late, and I'll let the cart just careen out very wide to the curb on the left there. Okay. And then this is probably my favorite section of the track, because it does take a lot of it took a lot to get right to execute, but when I got it right, it was very satisfying. So obviously I'm letting it careen out really wide, and then going back to the right for setup into this corner here. So what I do is, again, my eyes are pointed at this this curb right here. Okay, the second I see specifically like this, the start of that curb, like if the grass is taller, or once I get the cart like right here and I can see with my eyes going this way, that where the curb is, that's when I'll start to rotate the cart back to the left. So what that looks like is this. I'll go ahead and I'll go, oh my god, I can see the curb. That means I will have to turn. Then I'm going to lift off the gas to get the rotation. And it's going to be really quick. I lift off the gas for maybe, I don't know, not even half a second, just to get that rotation. And then I will point the cart quite aggressively to this curb. Now what you'll see here is, and what you can probably already tell, is that we're going to completely ride the crap out this curb, because although this photo is very low resolution, the inside of the curb is very smooth, and the outside is the track, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to straddle this curb. I'll try to split it like that, yeah. Where what basically happens is you'll have tires on the inside smooth part of the curb and tires on the track, all right? And then you'll have the rumbles between the tires, and you're not riding them, or you're not scrubbing speed. Now with an entry that is this shallow, you can see that if you get it right, you'll slingshot basically to the perfect part of the curb on the right here. Now this satellite photo, I don't know how old it is, but it does seem that this is before they did anything to the new curbing here on the track. Because there is a curb here that's like, it feels like it goes it extends much further than it shows on the picture here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rough kind of like where it is. So this is kind of where that curb is sitting, right? And it'll have those rumbles, but then it'll have a little bit of a smooth part after the white track limit paint line, like that. So that's kind of where the curb is. It's not yellow, I just have it colored yellow, so it kind of pops. But that's where it is, and your line will slingshot out kind of perfectly to where at the end of the curb you're basically taking up all that smooth, and you're not dealing with scrubbing speed by hitting those rumbles and getting sucked out. Now this is a little bit exaggerated because the line is actually way further. Let me undo this, because it's probably going to look a little bit more like this, where we'll start to turn a little bit earlier, because you're only on the very edge of where that curve is for a split second, because once you're at the edge, again, like, vision is very important as a racing driver. You're looking at your next point you want to hit, and that is the edge of this curb here. That is like the perfect spot to hit, as far as the apex of this corner is concerned, like every time. And once you do, well, let me draw the line first. You'll go ahead and you'll just go like bam, there it is. That's probably not super accurate. You know, it's like maybe a little wider out in the front first, and then you clip it like so, kind of like that. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna let the cart basically just shoot straight like a missile to the very end of this curb. That's my marker there. And then what I like to do is I like to bring the cart back over to this side of the track. Okay, like that. Once I'm on that side of the track, again, I'm looking at, it's probably definitely a lot more distance involved there. So I'm not turning that that sharply. It's more like this kind of number. And then, actually, that's, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it, and it's so different drawing it versus driving it. So kind of like that, right? And then once I'm here, okay, that's what's important is once you do all that, and you set it back to the left, you can basically just point the cart straight and have dead nuts, like 0 turning angle, and just go straight through this chicane. And if you aim it just right, you'll go right through the middle like that. Okay, and this is all flat, by the way. It's all flat. You can carry a lot of speed this way. And then, of course, what I'm doing here is I am letting it come out. I'm arcing it a little bit, carry some speed. It's better to arc it than to just try to, have your line do something like this, because then you'll ride the rumbles a bit too aggressively on this inside curb, I find, and you'll lose some time. So I let it kind of arc out, carry that momentum, and then I'll go ahead and go back to the left like this. I made it thicker there because there's a lot of room for play. Then you'll come to the left here. Now, hairpins are very important. Remember what I said about try to practice turning in as late as possible for these corners to conserve as much momentum as possible and have like really great exits. Well, that's kind of the same thing here, where basically I'm on the left side of the track and I'll come out a little farther like this, and then I'll turn in like that, and then do something like this. Just about. Not super complicated. And then I might even clip a little deeper on the inside red of the curb here. Then I'll come out where to the end. I'm trying to get this as accurate as I can, because at the end of the rumbles there is kind of where I try to aim for. Like right here, come out, back onto the track. So you want to use the whole course as you're going through it. So there we go. Because there's rumbles on this side here where this curb has little rumbles here and everything. And what I try to do is I try to make my line to the point where my tires are clipping the top right corner of that rumble there, and I can glide onto the concrete and keep that momentum going. Okay, so there's that. And then I'll go ahead and I'll S this off, right? I'll S it off where then I'm back to this side for setup into this next hairpin. And it's like the same deal as the first hairpin, where it's like, okay, we're going to start wide, right? It's pretty standard stuff. Start wide and then try to turn as late as possible. This one's a bit more of a geometric line though, but you can still hit it a bit later for that better exit. It's kind of what I aim for. But I know most of the time it's actually not, this is actually not super accurate because what's happening is, oh, go back. What's happening is, you'll shoot out definitely, what does it say? Drawing, yeah. Go back, there we go. Let me try to draw this again real quick. It's definitely more geometric to where you'll hit it and then you'll come out a lot more, a lot wider, a lot sooner, like that. Okay. And sometimes, like my buddies, some of them will go into the concrete here and everything, but I kind of try to have it as a bit more of a geometric corner, and then it'll come out wide, like that. And then up for this back straight here, it's all flat. And we're just gonna go through it really quickly. So it's pretty standard stuff. This corner is banked, and what I do is I let the bank turn for me. So I'll have very little steering angle, and I'll just hold it for the whole corner. I'll hold it, and then because of the bank, it'll actually torque your wheels a little bit, and you'll turn. It'll turn for you, and it'll help out. Cutting deep into the corner, and then gliding back out. Now, I'm not sure if that's necessarily accurate because I'm trying to think of I'm trying to close my eyes here and think of what it's like to drive. So it's kind of like I think the way it feels, I take a later entry anyway into the corner. So I'll be up here, and my marker is actually so there's the white track limit line that's painted on the side here. It has like a little wiggle in it, and that's what I use as my turn in point to know when I should turn in for this corner. So once I see that little wiggle on the paint line, I go, oh, okay, cool. That's when I start to give it the angle. The banking starts to turn for me, and then I'll let it glide me back out too. All right. Yeah, and then this is all flat. We're going flat, 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 and then this corner, the line's supposed to be straight. So, take my shaky hands with a grain of salt. So this corner here is also flat. Now the trick to this corner, I think I might have extended that line a bit too far. The trick to this corner is knowing when to turn in, and obviously, skill of listening to the cart. So the biggest thing for me is with this corner, I am always using the inside of the curb here as a reference. Depending on a variety of factors, the height of the grass, where something like this tire barrier is placed, because they move the tire barriers around, so they're not always in the same place every time I go. So sometimes it screws up my vision of what I'm used to using as a reference. And the grass grows. So what I've been doing recently is I've been using where I see people laying down a lot of rubber. If I'm going to try to highlight it there, you can see where people are kind of laying down a lot of that rubber on the track surface, right? To find out a good estimate of what the average line is through there. And then I take my line, based off of that reference. Where I'm like, okay, I'll turn in. I will try to turn as late as I possibly can, and I will try to clip the white of that curb, but I've been experimenting with either taking the line, more in a more deep sense, where I'm clipping the curb, or where I'm not. And I'll actually draw like a couple of them, right? So there's the one where I'm not hitting the curb, and the one where I am is kind of like this, where it's like, okay. And then I might come out wider sooner with that iteration. But the blue line is the one that I've been using after, the experience I've gained from this track and what I've learned from the people who I've raced against and others who work there. That the line where you kind of avoid the inside curb could be a more consistently fast one. Because as you can see, the red line definitely has a quicker entry, but the exit isn't quite as there. So it's a give or take, a catch-22 to where you're gonna make up time on entry with the red line, but you might lose time by the time you're all the way down this straight and going into that was that was a horrible line that I just drew. So kind of like that. There we go. Yeah. So that's pretty much the line for the track. But yeah, as you can see, like it's kind of a catch-22. It depends on how you want to play with it, and all that. But that's pretty much my line through the Bushnell Motorsports Park, with some exaggerations here and there, like like how I go to the left a little bit on top of the bridge to avoid that bump there. But other than that, it's you guys have carte blanche. This is kind of just what I've done. I would say this section here with the S, this is a little bit exaggerated too. Like I'm not coming as far out every time. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a line versus a waveform looking thing, depending on, again, how much grip I have. If I have way more grip, I will be going out much wider, and vice versa. The reason why, if I have more grip, I go out wider is because then I have the grip to make a much sharper change in direction to set up for the corner. Again, trying to set up as late as possible and trying to turn in as late as possible for the better exit kind of thing. That's the kind of driver I've discovered that I am, especially at this course, is I like very late corner entry. I like to set it very late. I like to do all that very late, like right on top of the corner, basically, all for that exit advantage. But yeah, it depends on how you guys like to drive. But this is pretty much how I do it. Yeah, let me know what you think.